People can often overcomplicate investing. You don't need 100 different stocks, and while it can be good to be diversified, you don't need to buy every single stock to do that. You'd be surprised with how well you can do with just three. So, I've gathered three stocks at the top of their sector that I truly believe will be around for many years to come. With these, you should be well diversified, you'll gain consistent, reliable income, and the idea is that you buy and hold them forever so you won't have to worry if the stock is going to be around for much longer. Stock number one on the list might be my favorite stock ever, and that's Microsoft. Many people think Microsoft is one of the best, if not the best company in the entire world. They have a diversified revenue stream. They can see very big gains because they're a tech company, and they've been reliably growing their dividend at a very solid rate for 20 consecutive years, and I have full faith that they can keep going until they're officially a dividend king. Their top line has consistently been increasing. If we look at their revenue, it grew 18% in the past year, and even over the past 5 and 10 years, we've seen an average of double-digit growth every single year. I said earlier that they're diversified. They have three solid sources of revenue, so they're not too dependent on one, even if we take out their largest segment. While the growth would slow down, overall they would still be growing. Their personal computing segment hasn't been doing that good recently, but overall it has been growing, and I really don't expect this segment to be putting up ridiculous numbers anyway. This is stuff like Xboxes and computers. They haven't made money on Xboxes at all, ever, I don't think. And not only is a cheaper product better for brand reputation, but it also acts as a loss leader. I own an Xbox and I love it, and I can only imagine the growth that they'll see in this segment once this new Xbox comes out that's supposedly going to be partnered with Steam, and it's basically just going to be a mobile computer. They have their cloud segment. This is Microsoft Azure, and the most simple and concise summary, it helps businesses run faster and more efficiently. And while this is according to Microsoft, so it might not be the best information, apparently 95% of Fortune 500 companies trust Microsoft Azure to help run and scale their businesses. Then there's the monster part of their business, productivity and business processing. This is just basically everything else. Their entire 365, so that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint. They have Outlook, which is basically email. They have OneDrive, which is cloud storage. They have Microsoft Teams. They have Copilot. They have so much under this segment that so many people use. And one thing that I just found out recently, they support hotkeys. This may not sound like a lot, but it can save so much time, and it's another reason that people would prefer Word or Excel over Google Docs or Google Sheets, because they don't support hotkeys. People use these in school, people use these for business at work, and if we look at their total 365 numbers, they're increasing every single quarter. Amazing, steady, double-digit EBITDA growth, steady double-digit net income growth. These are ridiculous numbers. Their free cash flow per share, while it has slowed down a bit over the past year, for the most part, it's still double-digit growth, and that's including stock-based comp. Not only do they pay out around 23% of their cash in the form of dividends, which is very low and very affordable, but this also means that they can steadily grow at around a double-digit pace every single year with no problems at all. EPS is just net income. They have more cash than debt. They're literally drowning in cash. They buy back shares. Their return on capital employed has been rising. Their gross margins are ridiculously high and steady. Their operating margins are steady and have been rising. And while their profit margins haven't been growing that much, overall they're very steady. I don't even have to talk much about them. Pretty much every number is perfect. The company overall is just amazing in my opinion, and I think it's going to stay around for a very, very long time. Stock number 2 on the list is actually also considered one of the greatest companies in the world, and again, it happens to be one of my favorite stocks. This is Costco. If you have ever grazed the surface of TikTok, you've heard of Costco. Everyone talks about it on there. I almost don't even want to talk about it because it's just going to be the same thing as Microsoft. But overall, it's steady growth across the board, but there are some KPIs I'd like to talk about, and for the sake of being honest, I'll show you their numbers. So again, steady revenue growth, but if we look at their first KPI, they are building more and more warehouses every single quarter. That is amazing. That means there's going to be easier access to Costco's around the world. They need to hurry up and make one near me. The closest is like 45 minutes away. And while I'm on that topic, actually, I know people that go out of their way to go to Costco. My step-grandma lives further away than I do, probably somewhere around an hour, And she goes there. I think she even has one of the premium memberships. So that just goes to show the customer loyalty. Cardholders have steadily been rising. That means more and more people are buying memberships. What does that mean? Consistent subscription-based revenue. They make $1 billion a quarter off that alone. I swear that's the hallmark of all the greatest companies, having some type of subscription-based revenue. Probably even better than that, let's look at their renewal rate. In the US and Canada, it is 92.7%. That is actually insane. I don't know how they've managed to pull that off. I assume Kirkland does a lot of the heavy lifting. But this is just ridiculous. Basically, every single person that signs up stays. And that goes back to the customer loyalty I was talking about. So you don't have to take it from my personal experience. You can literally see millions of other people that pretty much have the exact same thoughts. Like I said earlier, consistent growth across the board. EBITDA has been growing, net income has been growing, free cash flow per share has been growing. Their 5-year growth rate is 15%, which is really good, and that also means that they can afford to grow their dividend at a very high rate as well. On top of that, they pay out around 19% of their cash in the form of dividends, so again, incredibly affordable. They have more cash than debt. They've been growing their dividend at a double-digit rate for the past 10 years straight, and I know it's not a lot, but they do buy back some shares, which adds on to your gains just a little bit. Their return on capital employed has not only been steady, but it's actually been pretty high, with 2024 being at 28%, while their gross margins did take a dip that has been coming up in the recent years, and overall it's steady. Operating and profit margins have not only been steady, but increasing. I really don't know what else to say. Overall, just a great company, and it's in the consumer defensive sector. People are always going to need to buy groceries, and I think you can count on Costco for many, many years. The last stock to help round out this portfolio is a healthcare staple, and I actually haven't talked about them on this channel before. That stock is Johnson & Johnson. And the reason I've never talked about them is because personally, I'm really not the biggest fan, I won't lie. But I think it really helps round out the portfolio, and they're a steady, mature company, and I think they're just going to be around for a while. Healthcare is never a bad sector to be invested in. Everyone has always and will always need it. And again, Johnson & Johnson has been around forever. So even though their numbers may not look the greatest, they have shown that they can weather a storm. They've got tons of products. I'm just reading through some of their summary on Qualtrim. Baby care products under the Johnson and Aveeno's baby brands. Oral care products under the Listerine brand. Skin health and beauty products under Aveeno, Neutrogena, and other brands. They own Tylenol and other acetaminophen products. They own Sudafed, Benadryl, Zyrtec, Motrin. They own Nicorette, Neosporin, Band-Aids. So many things that people use. They own pretty much everything under the sun that people are constantly using. My grandpa, I don't know if he still has Nicorette gum, but I know he was on that for a while. And while I was gathering the data for this video, my girlfriend literally said she has like half of these products in her bag right now. They have pharmaceutical drugs for so many ailments, including arthritis, psoriasis, HIV, and AIDS, neurodegenerative disorders, so that was kind of hard to say, schizophrenia, prostate cancer, etc. The list goes on. I'm stumbling over my words because there's so many words. So keep in mind, this company has been around for a long time, and that's kind of why they own everything. But because of that, we aren't going to see too high of growth rates. It's more slow and steady, again, because it's a mature company. So taking a look at their revenue, it does continue to go up over time. That's a good sign, but it was only up 4% this past year, and over the past 5 years, it's averaged 1.6%. That is nowhere near the growth of Microsoft or Costco, but I'd like to think that those would balance this out. Kind of a similar story with the EBITDA. For the most part, it's been slow and steady growth, but over these past few years, it's actually kind of flatlined, and over the past 10 years, it's slightly down. This is kind of the stuff I was talking about when I said I really don't like it too much. It's not my favorite company. Net income also has flatlined. It's averaged almost a negative 1.5% every year for the past 10 years. No one likes to see this. This is terrible. But again, this is a mature company. They have been increasing their margins across the board. Profit margins have been going up. Operating margins have been going up. And gross margins have been steady. So while their net income hasn't been the greatest, they've still managed to grow their free cash flow, which is what I like to see, because that'll help them continue to raise their dividend. They are a dividend king. They've been paying and raising dividends for 68 years straight, which is ridiculous. That's like 3 times the amount of time that I've been alive. But also, taking a look at their free cash flow chart, I really don't think they plan on stopping that anytime soon. Overall, it's not as pretty as the other two, but if we think about where they're at in terms of the lifespan of their company, it's pretty textbook, and like I said earlier, it really helps round out the portfolio. So we have the opportunity for monster growth from the tech sector in the second biggest company in the entire world, Microsoft. We have one of the most consistent winners with incredible customer loyalty and solid growth in the consumer defensive sector with Costco. And this is all supported by a slower but steady healthcare company that has been reliably growing dividends for almost 70 consecutive years. One thing you might have noticed about all these is that they are all dividend growth companies. I am a dividend growth investor, but it's not my fault. All the best companies in the world grow their dividends consistently. If you want to know why this is, check out this video I'm about to put on screen at the end. But I will say, it was a toss-up between Johnson & Johnson and Waste Management. I think they're both great companies that would really provide stability in the portfolio, and they both are dividend growth companies. But I ended up going with Johnson & Johnson. If you have any other thoughts that you think, stocks that you think should have made this list, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear them. But I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, consider leaving a comment, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Good luck on your investing journey.